Now, amid massive university student protests across the US against Israel's war in Gaza, Columbia University's president is in a renewed wrangle. The university's oversight panel criticized the clamping down of pro-Palestinian protests on the campus. They have called the crackdown contrary to the norms and traditions of the Ivy League school. Now this comes as President Nemat Shafiq continues to face calls for resignation from the Republicans over not being able to dismiss the protests. Pro-Palestinian demonstrations across the US campuses have echoed protests around the world. Students in France and Germany have joined calls to condemn Israel's actions. Protest encampments are in place on more than a dozen college campuses across the United States, including Harvard, the NYU, the UCLA, University of Pennsylvania, George Washington, MIT, and others. Hundreds of students have been arrested so far. Clashes erupted between demonstrators and police at Paris' Sciences PO University. In neighboring Germany, Berlin, police was seen clearing a pro-Palestinian camp set up in front of the German parliament and the chancellery. Authorities across the United States are struggling to contain the protests. There are reports of police using excessive force. In some cases, they also used chemical irritants and tasers to disperse demonstrators. Students at California's Stanford University have joined the protests. Hundreds of students staged protests in the school before setting up encampments. By Friday, there were at least a dozen tents set up with signs demanding the end of the war. Protesters at the University of California, Los Angeles, protested for a second day on Friday, asking for a permanent ceasefire. At the University of Southern California, the graduation ceremony was cancelled, keeping in view safety concerns at the campus. At the George Washington University, protesters refused to give up, saying they won't rest until they divest. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that these protests over Israel's war in Gaza are a hallmark of American democracy. But Blinken also criticized what he called silence about Hamas. Across the globe, in Paris, students blocked access to the prestigious Sciences PO University over the war. They demanded that the institution condemns Israel's actions, while they chanted slogans in support of Palestine.
We are asking, as is traditional at Sciences Po, which normally takes a stand and condemns violation of international law, well, they haven't done it for what Israel is doing in Palestine.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.